Hello everyone and welcome to this video. So this one's going to be a controversial psychology experiment, as you could probably tell by the title. So this one was a difficult one for me to read, but I also found it strangely interesting. I thought that this one would be a good one to cover, but just a little trigger warning, I guess, that this one, it talks a lot about memories, and in particular childhood memories, so just a little warning there, and it'll go into the ethics as well. But yeah, so this one is called Lost in the Mall, and this one, the basic gist of it, is basically, the whole idea was to see if you could implant fake memories. So for this one, it was a memory that a lot of kids probably have experienced, getting lost in the mall when you're supposed to be shopping with your parents. So let's get cracking. So in the early 1990s, psychiatrist Elizabeth Loftus, already known for research on eyewitness fallibility, ran a quite radical experiment with her graduate student Jacqueline Pickrell. The premise was simple yet profound. Could participants be convinced that as children they got lost in a shopping mall and were rescued by a kindly adult? If successful, it would change assumptions about the reliability of childhood memories. So let's start with the setup, shall we? So Loftus and Pickrell recruited participants along with a close family informant, often a parent or older relative. The informant supplied 3 true, mildly distinctive childhood events for the participant. Researchers then inserted a 4th memory that never occurred: being lost in a mall around age 5, crying, helped by an older woman, and finally reunited with the family. The 4th event was plausible. Kids do get lost in stores and socially safe. Embedded among true memories and vouched for by a trusted source, participants were asked to recall each event over multiple interviews. So let's have a look at the findings. So, by the study's conclusion, roughly 25% of participants developed partial or full memories of the mall episode. They added sensory details: what the store looked like, their feelings, the adult's appearance, that extended beyond the researcher's script. Some insisted on the memory's authenticity, even after debriefing revealed it was invented. This demonstrated that memory is reconstructive, not a literal recording. People rebuild events using perception, suggestion, belief, and context. When scaffolding is credible and the source trusted, the brain fills in the rest. So let's have a look at why it mattered. So why exactly did this matter in the 1990s? So the study emerged during the memory wars, when courts and therapists grappled with claims of recovered traumatic memories. Loftus's experiment didn't claim all recovered memories are false, but it highlighted how easily confident recollections can be constructed under suggestion, especially when they feel familiar and safe. This raised critical questions for therapy, police interviewing, and courtroom testimony. How should memories be elicited without implanting them? How reliable is confidence as evidence of accuracy? Well, let's have a look at one-off. So not a one-off, replications and variations. Other labs soon replicated and extended the findings. Socially plausible events. Hyman planted memories of spilling a punch bowl at a wedding and observed similar rates of false recall. Dr. Photos. Professor Wade showed participants manipulated childhood photos, for example riding a hot air balloon, leading many to remember the events that never actually happened. Food preferences. Later work demonstrated that suggestions about childhood food experiences could shift adult preferences, illustrating how false or autobiographical memories can influence behaviour. These studies confirmed a pattern: the more plausible the event, the stronger the social proof, and the subtler the suggestion, the more likely false memories take root. Limits and criticisms, the interesting stuff. The line between memory and belief is nuanced. Some participants form a belief that an event occurred without vivid episodal recall. Others create full narratives. Critics argued that planting benign lab events doesn't replicate severe trauma. Success with minor events doesn't prove traumatic memories can be fabricated equally easily. Defenders emphasise principle of equivalence. If more suggestions from trusted sources create false recall of ordinary events, stronger or sustained pressures could possibly influence more serious memories. The debate led to best practices: use open-ended questions, avoid leading prompts, corroborate details, and treat memory as information to treat rather than a verdict. So let's look at the ethics. So, Lost in the Mall involved deception. Participants were told one memory was false until the end. Review boards mandated careful debriefing to minimise harm. Choosing a non-traumatic scenario allowed study of memory mechanisms without inflicting distress. So at least I've done that. Ethical questions remain. What do researchers owe participants when a cherished memory is shown unreliable? How do we balance scientific insight with personal dignity? This study helped shape today's higher bar for informed consent and debriefing in memory research. So, now we'll have a look at what it changed in the real world. So, firstly, we've got police and legal practice. The study informed eyewitness reforms, including double-blind lineups, cautionary jury instructions, and interview protocols that reduce suggestive questioning. So I guess that would be using open-ended questions instead of trying to lead people when interviewing them into saying certain things. So that does make sense, to be fair. So next up, we've got therapy. Ethical guidelines caution against leading techniques for recovering memories, and emphasising patient-led narratives and collaboration. So, I mean, I can vouch for that one because I've done talk therapies a few different times now by different counsellors, and they get you to talk and they get you to open up. They don't lead the conversation. It is very much you lead the story, like you explain what you remember. I guess it's why it's a bit of a difficult one for me personally today, but I find it very interesting. I guess I'm a bit messed up like that. But yeah, when I'm talking about traumatic events that have happened to me, I was not led. I don't believe I was led anyway. I believe that what I record to be true was true. With what I record, but anyway, enough of that boring stuff. So, everyday life. We've become aware of how stories, family law, social media, or photos can reshape what we remember. So it does make you think. It's like, I remember someone at school, I used to know these brothers at school, and the one always told this particular memory of scaring the mom, I believe it was, and the brother insists that he remembers it down to the T, but his brother wasn't actually in the house at the time and it took place in the house, but he swears blind that he was there and he really wasn't, apparently, according to the rest of the family. So there you go. I know real life version of that one. So let's look at the takeaway. So Lost in the Mall didn't render memory useless. It showed that confidence is not a guarantee of accuracy, that context and suggestion sculpt recall, and that plausibility plus social trust is an important recipe for memory construction. For courts, clinicians, and the public, the lesson is humility. Treat memory as a living draft, not a finished book. And so that is about the Lost in the Mall social experiment. Well, it's not really a social experiment, psychology experiment. But yeah, So like I say, that one was a bit of a difficult one for me personally, but it's still quite interesting. At the same time, I guess the best things are, nothing's easy in life. But yeah, it's quite an interesting one to see. I guess it's interesting to think how reliable your memories are. I mean, for me personally, I believe that my memory of, I guess the best way to explain it is a memory isn't a photograph. So I mean, people probably do recall different memories in slightly different ways, but I guess it's how, I mean, not everyone sees everything exactly the same. Everyone has different viewpoints in life, and I guess that's the same with memory as well. People are going to recall memories in different ways, and there are going to be slight differences because we all pick up on different things. I mean, for example, I'm quite I notice a lot of, that's where I am quite perceptive, but then if I was in the same situation as someone that wasn't as perceptive as me, then I'd probably pick up on stuff that they didn't. I'd probably notice the small details that they didn't, but that doesn't mean that they're lying. That's just their memory to them, because my brain probably picks up on more stuff than what their brain does. So I don't believe it's like a picture that everyone sees. I think memory is different for each individual person, and then it's that thing that your brain kind of filters your memories, I guess, as a trauma response. That is if you have gone through a traumatic experience. But yeah, I mean, it is quite an interesting one, but I don't think people would die about the memories on purpose. I do believe that, people recalling the same thing, they are going to be slightly different, and I think that's just human nature. I think it's just how our brains work. I'm so glad that I wasn't around when this experiment was going on. But yeah, it is quite an interesting one. But anyway, if you like this video, feel free to to drop it a like, subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'll be putting a playlist in the description below of videos that are similar to this. And if you have any suggestions for any future videos, if it's psychology based, if it's creepypasta based, if it's folklore based, literally anything, I'll talk about anything on this channel. Anything that I'll find interesting anyway. And then feel free to let me know in the comments or in my socials, that's in my YouTube bio, or on my email address, that's also in my YouTube bio. And I'll see you all in the next one.